It's America versus Iraq here on Wrestlemania 7, the recreated edition by FRW. Before we begin, a few facts. WrestleMania 7 took place on March 24th, 1991. It took place in Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena. The record at the time of this was 16,158 fans. This was Hogan's sixth of 8 main events. 36 wrestlers were in the show. However, 2 of them were in a dark match, so I will not be counting them because as I stated before, I only will be reviewing matches that made TV. We're going to be basing it on the attire. We will not be including managers, valets, custom figures. It must be mass retail released, or at least if it's on a specialty website, it's just not customized. Let's begin. So WrestleMania 7 kicked off with the first match of the Rockers versus Haku and the Barbarian. Now, we can recreate this match. We do have Rockers in Jack-specific form as well, but it won't be accurate. As you can see, they're wearing black tights with more of a yellowish kind of color. Cool-looking attire, don't get me wrong, but no one's tackled that attire ever. And Haku and Barbarian... Barbarian is pretty accurate. Of course, he's missing some decals like boot covers and such. Again, that's probably just because Deco at the time, we weren't, as wrestling fans, we weren't really too concerned with that as long as we had the figure itself. Nowadays, we're more like, well, we're paying for this. Why is it not 100% accurate? Haku, he's wearing black, not purple, so no one's wearing the proper attires. Then we've got the second match, the Texas Tornado versus Dino Bravo. Now, this is a picture of Kerry Von Erich, the NWA-looking world champion attire run. But he does have a variant called the Texas Tornado, which is yellow. And unless you've got some serious money behind you, he's pretty spendy. He's mock. Loose, you're going to be about anywhere from 100 to 150. More if he has his coat, potentially. I sold mine recently for 125 because, again... as these figures get older, they get more squeakier and fragile and posing wise. Just not worth it to me. It's better to let somebody else who has that kind of income or just wants to pretty much put them on a display. That's what they want it for. Of course, with Dino Bravo being made, we can recreate this match. It won't be accurate though. Then we've got the third match, the British Bulldog versus Warlord, and the pictures. It's hard to tell because they wrestle each other, I think, at SummerSlam again, almost in the same look, except for you can see here Warlord's not got his white design on there, and it's opposite. It's not like Mattel or Jakks Pacific cheaped out and decided to add something different. This is before he decided to have that decal added to his attire, so it's not accurate. We can recreate it. We can easily get another British Bulldog figure. I do believe his Elite 40-ish, I want to say 41, 42, that area. There's one that kind of looks like that. That's, of course, from his SummerSlam attire look. But you can recreate them in Jakks Pacific or in Mattel form. Then the Nasty Boys, Brian Knobbs, Jerry Sags with the Hart Foundation. The Hart Foundation, again, it looks like they're almost wearing the same exact thing they wore the year before. I can't see the hearts in this picture. But it's very accurate, very reminiscent. Nasty Boys, of course, they're pretty much wearing what they usually always wear. It's black tights with a t-shirt that has their team name on it and a bunch of just graffiti scribble chaos on the front of it. So I'm going to count that as accurate. Then we have the fifth match, and this one, again, Jakks Pacific was on the money with this one. They basically said, okay, Here's a match from WrestleMania 7, the Blindfold Match, which was unique in itself. And let's make the proper attire. And they pretty much did. The purple's a little off on the Rick Martel. But again, that's deco choices. But it's literally based. I mean, they even have the black hoods. That's how cool it is. They have the hoods over, of course, which we know Jake could see out of because he's screwed that up. But the attire is right there. You can recreate this match. It's a limited edition series. I don't know how expensive it is. I haven't really looked it up. I already have a Jake the Snake from my Mattel, and I already have Rick Martel from Mattel. But if you wanted to find the exact replication, it's right there by Jakks Pacific. The streak begins. And boom. The Undertaker versus Jimmy Superfly Snuka. The start of the Undertaker's infamous, not undefeated streak. He would be defeated later on, but for right now, if you're recreating the show, well, you've got a Jakks Pacific Jimmy Snuka. The attire is pretty much there. I don't believe the boots are as detailed as they are in the real life. He's got like a tiger print looking thing going on with the boots. Here, there's brown boots. That Undertaker is pretty accurate as well. It's got the gray. So yeah, you can recreate this match. It is accurate. Then this match, Mattel knocked it out of the park with this one. Props to them. This was early on. That's Macho Man's first Mattel figure. He actually was alive when he showed that one off. So it's very hard to find. Again, we hadn't seen Macho Man in years. He was never picked up by Jakks Pacific. He never really wanted to sign with Jakks Pacific, or he never was approached. And then you've got these two defining moments, a discontinued line. These are very expensive to find, especially mock. But if you've got these figures out there, if you want to hunt them down, you've got the money for it, you've literally got the two figures right there in representation. Perfect example. Then we've got our first Void match. It's Jinichiro Tenryu and Koji Katao. Now, I may have mispronounced the first guy's name. I do apologize. And then we got Demolition, Smash, and Crush. Now, I include the 3-pack because Crush only came in the Jakks Pacific 3-pack with Demolition. You can get a single version of Mattel Crush, and of course he's in the proper attire. The face paint may not match properly, but again, at this rate, those are becoming very expensive figures to find. Even his Kona Crush figure is going to run $50 to $100. So it's getting harder and harder to find the Demolition figures. They are unwilling to negotiate or work with WWE right now for a reason. Of course, Crush no longer on this earth, but I could not find any Koji Katao, which he's famous for no selling a match with Earthquake and then basically just saying wrestling's fake and out of the ring and walking away. So I don't see him being represented in figure form. Then we're on to the 9th match, and that's Big Boss Man versus Mr. Perfect Curt Hennig. And I always wondered why they would not put a black, he had the singlet with the black design on the back, and why it was yellow. Well, I realize now it's from his WrestleMania match with the Big Boss Man. He wore yellow in the back. I've always preferred when he has just like a black colored singlet, or maybe a dual color in the back area. I personally liked his Royal Rumble 2002 return attire. I hope they make that one day. And I hope they retool him a little bit because they've always made him very wonky. But if you want to recreate the match, there it is. Then we've got Earthquake versus Greg the Hammer Valentine, and it's a little more of a darker blue on Earthquake, but this is pretty much what it was. Of course, there's no knee pads, the boots are there. A little bit lighter color, I think they chose on that situation, but again, it's the same exact look. What's funny is, obviously they include the snake in the bag. This was also the attire he'd be kind of wearing when he decided to sit on Jake the Snake Roberts' Cobra or Snake in the bag. And then Greg the Hammer Valentine, Legend 7, knocks it out of the park with this. No Hammer Jammer in this situation, but you still get that when you buy the figure. Then we've got Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal versus Power and Glory, Paul Roma and Hercules. And there's a Paul Roma figure coming out. Zombie Sailor Toys is producing one. It is in the reminiscent retro Hasbro looking design style, kind of like the Dino Bravo and whoever else they decide to add into that. I think Bull Nakano is also going to be added into that. But while you can recreate it, it's going to look very awkward. You have a massive LJN Hercules and a little tiny Paul Roma. There is no attire for LOD that matches that. The closest I could find was almost their LOD 2000 look. Probably, actually, I wouldn't say that, not 2000, excuse me. That would be more of their Attitude Era look, which they didn't win tag belts during that look at all. So it is not accurate, but you can recreate it. And then we got Berger vs. $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. And the Hasbro knocked it out with Virgil. You can get $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase with Hasbro. Usually he's just in his like suit, not his wrestling attire. So if you want his wrestling attire, you gotta go Jax or Mattel. As everybody else decided, he wrestled in his suit, which he never did. So, come on. And then we got the Mountie versus Tito Santana. And again, Jax and Mattel, you know, they two different companies. Mattel never produced a Mountie yet. They still have the license. We never know what's going to happen. But as I stated earlier, they're not the Canadian Mountie police aren't too big on them being represented as a negative light. So, and then on to the main event, and you'll see the two pictures here are of upcoming figures. Of course, I chose the Hulk Hogan from the new Survivor Series coming up, as it looks a little bit more older. And you remember this is now his like seventh overall WrestleMania. So I mean, 7 years compared to when he, even 5 years when he had the WrestleMania 2 belt. So I mean, he's getting older. Everyone does. It's just the way it works. So I included this one because he is coming out. I've already pre-ordered him. I also already pre-ordered Sergeant Slaughter, and there's the red knee pads, there's the wristbands. The only thing that's different is the boots. Now, this is a render, so they might include those boots. They might change it up a little bit. They may not be, Iron Sheik-ish looking as I think they did become, but this is very accurate. If you only count one thing was the boots, and the rest of it's good, that's 90% accuracy right there. Let's see how we did. So, this event could not be recreated as we're missing one wrestler, Koji Katao. I did find, like I said, you saw the picture of the other guy, Tenryu, but no Koji Katao. Again, I guess when you decide in front of a live audience to not sell your opponent's matches, flip them off, get out of the ring, say wrestling's fake, and basically spit on the business, not many people want to sign you to any type of wrestling deal to keep you in their memories. They kind of want to sweep you under the rug and forget about you. So we were so close. We were at 97%. We're not at WrestleMania 10 yet. But as you can see, I forgot to highlight, and I apologize for that, but Hasbro has popped onto the list at 27 figures. 79%. They take first place. And then Mattel and Jax are tied with 26 apiece. So Hasbro jumped up. LJN drops off entirely. It's 64% accurate. We're getting better each and every time. The newer WrestleManias, the more coverage and figures we get. Will we ever get 100%, in any of the WrestleManias before 5? It's unlikely. Like I said, I don't see people clamoring for David Sammartino. As always, I want to thank you for watching. Leave a comment. Thanks again. Comments are always welcomed again. And subscribe. Ring the bell. Check back for WrestleMania 8 coming soon. The redone edition, of course. I have an original up there. I do apologize. They were long, boring, chatting. I've tried to shorten them down a little bit, as you've seen. If you want to watch the originals and see how well things are changing, I hope to, again, get this more of a time thing. Once I can add video in, once I can figure out more stuff. But if you are watching, I want to thank you again. And I'll see you back at WrestleMania 8. Will we reach 100%? We can only wait and find out.